Frank Dicopoulos sat back, a nostalgic smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. He'd told the story before, but it never got old. There was a time, during the peak of Guiding Light, when the line between fiction and reality blurred in the most unexpected ways. Among them, one moment stood out, not because it was dramatic or tragic or scandalous, but because it changed something real, something intimate, something permanent. They were deep into a major arc, one of those classic soap storylines filled with emotion, betrayal, redemption, and, of course, love. Frank Cooper, the character Dicopoulos had portrayed for decades, found himself at the heart of a storyline involving a newborn baby, a baby girl. The plot was tender and hopeful, and the writers chose a name that, at the time, didn't strike anyone as revolutionary. But audiences took notice. It started subtly. Fan mail began to pour in, not just the usual notes of admiration or questions about what was coming next. These letters had a very specific theme. New parents were naming their daughters after Frank's on-screen child. Marina. Not Emily. Not Ashley or Rachel. Marina. The Copulos remembered getting the first letter about it, assuming it was a coincidence. Then another. And another. Before long, he lost count. At first, he was amused, then touched, and then stunned. "If that doesn't blow your mind," he said, his tone a blend of awe and disbelief, "I don't know what will." The character of Marina Cooper had been created with care. She symbolized hope and renewal, born in a time of chaos, as many soap babies are. But it wasn't just the storyline. It was the way the show presented her, how the characters spoke about her, protected her, fought for her. Viewers didn't just watch the character grow. They emotionally invested in her journey from infancy through adolescence, which eventually led to her becoming a mainstay on the show herself. It was a rare thing in daytime television, a fictional character born on screen whose real-world influence extended to birth certificates across the country. The Coppolas never claimed credit for it. That belonged to the writers, the showrunners, the entire team that brought Guiding Light to life every day for decades. But he couldn't deny he had a front-row seat and a leading role in the phenomenon. He'd be at fan events or walking through airports when it would happen. A woman would approach, sometimes holding the hand of a young girl. She'd smile shyly and say, "This is Marina. We named her after your daughter on Guiding Light." It became more than a story. It became a ripple effect. Soap operas have always had a unique relationship with their viewers. The intimacy of daily viewing, the long-running arcs, the characters that feel like friends or family. They foster a connection that's different from movies or even primetime shows. But this was something else entirely. It wasn't just fans relating to characters. It was real people making real decisions, inspired by a fictional world. He recalled one letter in particular. A couple had been struggling with infertility for years. When they finally conceived, they turned to Guiding Light for comfort during the pregnancy. The moment Marina was born on screen, they both knew that was the name. It represented hope for them, just as it had for Frank Cooper. The Coppolas often wondered if the writers had any idea what they were creating at the time. Soap scripts move fast. Storylines shift. Babies are born, aged up, married off, and written out sometimes within a few seasons. But this one stuck. Marina wasn't just a character. She became part of people's lives in a tangible way. And in a genre often dismissed by critics, that meant something. Daytime television had its heyday, sure. Ratings climbed in the 80s and 90s, and fans tuned in religiously. But even then, soap operas didn't always get the respect they deserved. They were seen as escapist, melodramatic, even disposable. But Dicopoulos never believed that. Moments like Marina's birth and the ripple it created proved otherwise. This wasn't just entertainment. It was storytelling with heart, capable of moving people to act in deeply personal ways. He remembered telling his own family about the letters and the trend. His daughter, who was close in age to the character, found it surreal. "Wait," she asked, "there are real people named after the baby on the show." He just nodded, smiling. Hundreds, probably thousands. The Coppolas wasn't the kind of guy to brag. But that story, That story he carried with pride. Years later, long after Guiding Light had aired its final episode, the impact remained. Children named Marina had grown up. Some of them, he imagined, probably had no idea their name came from a soap opera storyline. But their parents did, and he did.